What's up, Brooks? Welcome back to another episode of All the Castles, the show where we visit all the castles within the UK. Today we are here at, is it just called Cockermouth Castle?
Yeah, correct.
Cockermouth Castle in the town of Cockermouth, don't laugh. It's a very beautiful castle actually, there's quite a lot of it left, and we were actually pleasantly surprised to find that it's at least partially open today, so got a good video ahead of you lads.
Hello. Yes, like Simon said, we're surprised because it's usually you can't get this close to the front of the castle, but there is a music festival on and there's a brass band concert taking place later this afternoon. It looks like it's open to look around for a bit beforehand, so we're very pleased about that. And Cockermouth Castle was first built in 1134 by a bloke called Robert Fitzibus, but it was destroyed on the orders of 1221 by order of King Henry III after some rebels held it, and it had to be rebuilt by Fitzibus's grandson, and there are a few traces left of that building, but mainly what we can see today was built in the later 13th and 14th century by a guy called Thomas de Lucy, and then by the Percys, who inherited the castle by marriage. And for a lot of the time it was in joint ownership with Egremont Castle. The same people owned both properties, and the Percys eventually passed it down to the Wyndhams, and the Wyndhams, who are Lord and Lady Egremont, still live here today for at least part of the year, and that's the reason why it's usually closed. There is a private residence in the middle of the courtyard, but Lord Egremont has also said that it can't be open to the public generally because it's just not in a good enough state of repair. But Cockermouth Civic Trust do have guided tours here a few times a year, and it costs £30 to book onto those, but you do get a tea. It's thought the castle fell into repair in the late 16th century.
Fell into repair or into disrepair?
Disrepair, sorry, thank you for the correction.
You're welcome.
And it was held by the parliamentarians against a royalist onslaught during the Civil War, but it's not thought that that significantly contributed to the damage. It was under threat quite recently. In 2015, Storm Desmond wiped away a load of the riverbank, and we'll perhaps see that a bit later, and that put the castle under threat because the walls stand on that stretch of riverbank. It is on a site overlooking the confluence of the River Derwent and the River Cocker, hence the name Cockermouth. Alright, this is the gatehouse. I think this is late 15th century, and that gives you access to the Inner Bailey. Just give you a quick glance here. This is the mansion house built in the 1800s where Lord and Lady Egremont live, so we're not going to wander there and intrude on their privacy. Yeah. Okay, we have been allowed onto the lawn, the inner courtyards, but you know, only limited access to the ruins here. But as you can see, there's a lovely old archway there, and I think that is the what they call the bell tower. There's also a kitchen tower where you can see some of the fireplaces. I'm wondering if that's over at that end. Like I say, have a look on the website. You can have a tour here from Cockermouth Civic Trust, and Yeah, that looks like the most substantial of the medieval ruins. Oh, well, this is the exterior view from the banks of the River Derwent. You can see there was the bank that was heavily eroded by Storm Desmond. In the 9 years since then, it's grassed over a bit, but certainly was a big threat to the castle. And we're fortunate in that this is the oldest and most interesting part of the castle that we can see here. There is some 13th century work at the bottom of the curtain wall and at the base of the bell tower here. And now I'm actually unsure. One of them is the bell tower, one of them is the kitchen tower, and I might have to go back and look up which is which. Oh, well, this is the exterior view from the banks of the River Derwent. You can see there was the bank that was heavily eroded by Storm Desmond. In the 9 years since then, it's grassed over a bit, but certainly was a big threat to the castle. And we're fortunate in that this is the oldest and most interesting part of the castle that we can see here. There is some 12th century work at the bottom of the sorry, we'll do a bit of editing there. There is some 13th century work at the bottom of the curtain wall and at the base of the bell tower here. And now I'm actually unsure. One of them is the bell tower, one of them is the kitchen tower, and I might have to go back and look up which is which. One of them is leaning, so it's slightly dangerous. I think that's the bell tower, and the kitchen tower has got some water ingress. So there is still an ongoing conservation work going on here. I should mention that in between filming this and the earlier footage in the video, we did meet Lord and Lady Egremont, who have passed the video is acceptable to them and not impinging on their privacy, and they were very pleasant, courteous couple.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Also,
thank you to His Lordship and your Ladyship for their forbearance.
If you're going to show up here, obviously be respectful. They're actually quite nice people, and they've actually been experiencing some break-ins from what I've heard. So if you are the person who's done that, you are terrible, and leave these people alone. Thank you. Bye. What's up, Rooks? Welcome back to another episode of All the Castles, the show where we visit all the castles in the UK. Today we're here at Workington Hall. It's a very beautiful building. I was quite struck when I was walking up, but we don't really have that much access to it. It's all kind of blocked off by these big iron gates at the windows and the door. So probably not going to be able to film much aside from its facade, which in all fairness isn't the worst thing that could ever happen to us, because as you can see, it's a rather lovely building.
Okay, well, yes, I mean, this you can get right up to the building, and I think you can walk around it because it's in part of a public park. It's right in the centre of Workington, just across the road from Marks and Spencer's, and it was built in 1362, the first part by Gilbert de Colwyn, but the name was eventually corrupted to Kerwin, and the Kerwins owned it for centuries until the last Lady Kerwin gave it to the people of Workington in the 1940s. Ever since then it's been a municipal property, but as you can see, it hasn't been lived in for a time. I presume this was the gatehouse. Its most notable contribution to history is it's claimed to be the last place that Mary Queen of Scots stayed as a free person when she fled to England. The Curwens put her up here for a night apparently, and after that she was taken into custody, and of course she never left that until her head was chopped off at Fotheringay Castle, which hopefully we'll one day visit, but that's quite a distance from here. So this looks to me like it was the gatehouse, and you can see it's still got some narrow windows for archers, so it probably is medieval in origin. We're going to walk around the property, see if we can get some more insights into it as we do a lap. Okay, so this is the north face, is it north? The east facing wall, as you can see, still quite substantial. And what we're coming to now is the original, the first part of the building. This is the original Peel Tower, though it's clearly been substantially altered over the centuries. You can see inside they've got some brickwork shoring it up on the inside, and yeah, the windows are clearly of different vintage. I don't think either certainly not the big square ones at the top, are not original, and I suspect these arches aren't. But you can see a little archer's hole there, which I suspect is original, and you've got a blocked doorway at the bottom. This is the gable end, and a good opportunity to see the interior. Yeah, or at least part. Yeah, you can see that they have had to shore a lot of it up with brickwork, so it's a bit of a hodgepodge here. You've got a nice little window here inviting a peep through, and yeah, I wonder if that's barrel vaulted. It's a bit too dark to tell. Maybe. Probably not. And this is the southern facing side, which would face out towards the sea. Those metal drains, or whatever they are, certainly don't add anything to the scene. And well, a lot of bricked up windows here. It's rather more than they need. In fact, the windows must have been one of the most well lit properties in the area, given how many windows they had. Of course, in the 18th century, when there was a window tax, they'd have been absolutely caned. Maybe that's when some of these were boarded up. Oh, this is looking through the grates to the front. Again, lots of brickwork and concrete shoring it up. And that's looking down into the central part of the hall.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see where the Peel Tower is there, that there's what looks like an original doorway towards the bottom, And they do offer guided tours here sometimes, so according to the board. But yeah, you have to wear proper shoes to go wandering through there. But that's it. That's Workington Hall.
Nice place. Leave a like, a subscribe and a comment. Bye.
There is some 12th century work at the bottom of the sorry, we'll do a bit of editing.